Around 700 homes around the country are being written off after this year's cyclone damage. They've been given a Category 3 status, meaning they're not safe in the event of more flooding and they cannot be rebuilt.
The government will join forces with councils to offer voluntary buyouts in the worst hit areas at a cost of around $1 billion. Most of the Esk Valley and Hawke's Bay falls into that category. Alexa Cook is there now. Kia ora, Alexa. How did the residents take the news?
Not well. People here are feeling shocked by a lack of information from officials. They learnt their fate via an email at 10 o'clock this morning, and some are refusing to leave.
When we come, the water went right.
Ted Roberts has lived in Esk Valley for 49 years. But today he was told he has to leave because of the flood risk.
Not going anywhere, no.
So what happens when the government tells you you have to leave? This is not safe.
I don't care. Don't care. I'm not moving. That's one thing I'm not doing. They can do what they like, but I'm not. They'd have to drag me out by my ear. I'm not going anywhere.
The 81-year-old has no insurance, so he's rebuilding his flood-damaged home himself.
Rejibbed, replastered and painted, the complete thing. Put new carpet down.
His property is home to 5 families, now a silt-covered wasteland on the banks of the Esk River.
Here's the river right down.
That river turned into a raging torrent in February. People were rescued from roofs, hundreds of homes destroyed, and a 2-year-old girl drowned. Nearly 4 months later, and the entire stretch of valley has just been classified as Category 3. The risk of flood is too high for people to live here. About 236 properties in Hawke's Bay are in the same situation.
It's also very hard, almost impossible for engineering solutions to protect residents and properties where people are living.
Huge news that the council broke to residents via email.
Anyone from
The valley has been effectively red zoned.
This is our beautiful valley.
Locals are also upset about the lack of communication today from the government and councils.
They just should have come and just talk to the people here who know what's going on and just tell them why they're making the decisions and how they're making the decisions.
Something the Hawke's Bay Regional Council is defending.
We wanted that information to them before the government announcement.
A government announcement made in Wellington that it would join up with councils to offer buyouts for owners of Category 3 homes.
Obviously, there are a number of issues to work through when it comes to how those costs will be split.
Although not everyone wants to be bought.
I'm going to stay put.
That definitely will be an issue. As you may or may not know, there are still people who live in the Christchurch red zone because some people simply decided that they didn't want to go.
As for whether Esk Valley vineyards and orchards can get back to business, well, that's still up in the air.
That's a mixed land use conversation that the task force are yet to determine.
Land still lying under piles of silt, its future uncertain.
Well, Alexa, there are a lot of homeowners in Auckland waiting for these decisions too. Do you know when they're going to be told?
They can expect those answers on June 12th. That's when the Auckland Council will start consulting with flood-affected residents there. Now, we know today that there are 700 homes like this that have been deemed unlivable. 400 of them are in Auckland, but we don't know where exactly they are in the city, and so we're expecting a map from the council on June 12th, like what we saw today from Hawke's Bay, that'll tell people what category they're in and in what parts of the city. And it's that kind of information that people are really desperate to know, because they need that information in order to make some really big decisions around insurance, around possible voluntary buyouts from the government, so they can start moving forward with their lives.
That's Alexa Cook live from Esk Valley. Tēnā koe.
Well, as for the houses in other categories, a further 10,000 of them are going to need more flood protection before they can be rebuilt. Today's announcement left many of them in limbo. And
residents in Napier's Awatoto fear resolution could be months away. Investigations correspondent Michael Morra has the story.
Jane Harrison's living in a shed. It's warm, it's dry, she's grateful. But this isn't home. It's makeshift and muddled, and she has no idea when normality will return.
Quite annoyed that we thought we'd get some more answers, not have to wait another 6 weeks for stock banks to maybe be finished.
And this is what's left of Jane's actual home, stripped and ready for rebuilding.
where my son and my daughter-in-law stays.
It's been designated Category 2C asterisk, meaning repairs like fixing Awatoto's busted stop banks are needed, and possibly other things like raising her home. But adding to the confusion, her category also means it's possible she'll be shifted to Category 1 and won't need any significant redesign.
I would think probably middle of next year, if not longer, before we would actually be in a home. Yeah, because it just keeps dragging.
The council's own website states for those in Category 2 and 3, the provisional assessments delivered today are, quote, just the start of the process. Harrison thinks it'll be months more of waiting. The council can't be definitive about the time involved.
I'm not sure about months, so I can't give you a timeline on that. But as someone in a 2C, they have come to the realisation, particularly after today's announcement, that there are mitigation measures.
I don't think they're being transparent about how long this is actually going to take.
She hopes to learn more in 14 days, when council has said more detailed information will be known. Michael Morra, Newshub.